Start recording. Okay, I'm going to speak for about 20 minutes or so. In the presentation, I'm really going to try and do two things. So first of all, I'm going to give an overview of the new Moodle user interface. So basically what the new Moodle looks like here at South Bank. And then after I've done that, I won't spend much time on that. Spend a bit more time actually on the new features that we've introduced here into our Moodle. So there are three new plugins, as they're called, or features. So we'll be looking at the tutorial bookings, which is a great new tool, the group self-selection, which enables students to join their own group or set up their own group. And then there's the progress completion block as well, or bar. And as I say, I'll give you a live demo of these three new features. What I'm going to go through is not so much how to actually set these features up, but more in terms of what they look like and just how useful are they for lecturers who are managing their class via Moodle. As I say, I'll speak for I'm aiming to try and get it all done in 20 minutes if I can. Okay, so what I want to do now is go into a live presentation of Moodle. So I'm just going to change the screen now, and as I say, I'm going to go to the live demo, which will take, I'll click the relevant buttons now, so in the next couple of seconds you should be able to see in front of you on the screen, you should be able to see now the Moodle page. So what I've done here is I've got a test course, so this is my kind of sandpit area, and in here I've set up the three new features. But before I do that, let me just go back to the dashboard. So as soon as anybody comes into Moodle, they will land on this page, and at first sight, I mean, if you saw last year's version of Moodle, it does look quite different, but actually it's really mainly to do with the colours that have changed. So it looks different in that respect. So in terms I've got a question from Mark. Oh, sorry, another question that's come in. The sound should be okay, but looks like somebody may be having problems with their sound. It will need to be. You'd need to check the settings on your PC, Mustafa. Okay, let me just go back in terms of the presentation. So this is the landing page that you'll come into in terms of dashboard. So on this landing page you will see your active modules, you'll see active courses, you'll see the other resources that you might be logged into. I've got quite a few here because of the nature of my job. And then below that you will see two buttons. One for all my Moodle sites, so if you clicked on there, that will take you to previous modules that you've been enrolled into. And then on the second button, just next to it, is the site catalogue. So there you can search for any course that you're particularly looking for. Over to the right hand side of the screen, I suppose the one new feature that's come in is that, can you see on the right hand side we've got a new box that's FAQs. So on here we have got frequently asked questions. So these frequently asked questions are aimed at lecturers, and the aim is that we'll probably change these over the course of the year. So the first batch of questions are really to do with questions that lecturers might have at the start of the year, but that will probably change as we come to hand in dates. That will change those questions. Also, because the students log in with different details, they'll get their own set of frequently asked questions as well. So they have a different set of questions. I suppose the other feature that's worth pointing out, well, two other things. On the top right hand side, where your name is, where you're logged in, you can actually access the dashboard via there. You can go to your profile and access grades or messages up on the top right hand side. Again, the other important feature is the Moodle help, which is the top left hand side as well, which you can get further help, Moodle help, but I'll come back to that later on. Okay, next, if I actually go into a module, so I'm going to go back into a test module that I've got here. So again, the layout hasn't changed that much, if at all, but the colours have compared to last semester. So again, you see the various sections going down through the content through the centre of the screen. You can access these through the menu on the left hand side, and on the right hand side you can see the editing, where you can turn editing on and off button, and obviously the various blocks on the right hand side as well. And again, the administration block, which is on the bottom left hand side, again that's in the same place. Again, it might all look slightly different because the colours have changed, but it's essentially all there. Right, what I'm going to do next is just then talk you through these 3 new features. So the 3 new features are, and I'll go through these one at a time. So it's the completion progress bar, which is on the right hand side, the tutorial booking feature, and the group self-selection feature. So the first one is the completion progress bar. So what this is, it tells you by activity how the students are completing their various activities that you've asked them to. So this is what it looks like. So you've got the completion bar block, and then if I click on where it says overview of students, so that's just here in this block, it will take you and give you an overview of how the students are doing on your particular course. So in this example, I've got 3 students, sandpit students 1, 2 and 3, so these are dummy students, and straight away it gives you a visual representation of how your students are progressing with the activities. So the blue bars are actually ones that are activities that are future activities, so these the completion dates haven't arrived yet. The green blocks tell you, the lecturer, that the activity has been completed. So if I hover over there, I can see Sandpit student 1 has completed their Turnitin assignment. So has student 2, but student 3 hasn't actually completed that task yet. The activities will actually turn red as well. So for example, once the deadline has completed, it will tell you that the students have missed their deadline. So this is a great way to see how your students are completing their activities on their course, and it does so basically all in one page, which is very useful. Okay, to set up a completion progress bar, and again I won't go all through the settings, but if you turn the editing on, scroll down, and then you'll see add a block, and then click on the down arrow, and then you'll see completion progress as one of the options. So just click on that, and that will enable that block. There's a couple of further things that need to be done along with that as well, but I'll show you where you can get a guide for that as well. Okay, let me just turn the editing off again. Right, the second major feature which has been introduced is the tutorial booking. So I've already set one up here, so if I click on this link here, this takes you to the tutorial booking tool. So this is what it looks like when it's been set up. So it's sign up for your tutorial here. And as you can see, what I've done here is I've set up 3 tutorials, one on the 10th, 11th and 12th of September, all at 10 o'clock. And it gives the students details of where these tutorials are taking place, so the room number and where they are. And I can see from the list here that one of my students has signed up. So student Sampit 2 has signed up for the tutorial on the 11th of September. So I'll show it from the student's perspective in a minute, but as you can see straight away, this is a great tool if you want students to book up for various sessions. Once they have booked up, you can then download a list of names for any particular tutorial group. Also, as you can see, I'm hovering over this link here, you can then email each of those tutorial groups individually. So if you just click on email group, you can send them an email just to that tutorial group. Okay, but I'll show you it from the student's perspective how to do that as well. And again, although it's called a tutorial booking tool, you could just as easily use that for other activities as well. So I don't know, for example, if you were doing a trip to, I don't know, a museum or a gallery or even to a business, you could get the students to sign up for it there as well. So a really useful little tool. To actually set up this tool, again, I won't go through all the settings, but what you need to do is turn editing on, go to add an activity or a resource, and then if you scroll down, you can see one of the options is tutorial booking. You just click on the radial button and then go add. You do need to know something about the options to use this tool, but again, I'll show you where you can get information about that. Okay, so that's the second tool. And then the final one is the group self-selection tool. And again, this is what it looks like. I've set up one here. So it says join a presentation group here. And if I click on here, I can see that one of the students has set up one of their own groups. They've named the group London, and this is for a group who are doing a presentation on London tourism. And you can see who the student is. This is from the lecturer's perspective. So again, it's the dummy student 2 has enrolled into that group. Okay, and again, from the lecturer's perspective, you can download the students' names for that particular group as well, and set a minimum and maximum size to that particular group. Okay. Again, a really useful tool. You can get your students to sign up rather than you putting into groups. You can then manage those groups, so you can change the group members if you want to afterwards. And then more importantly, you can actually link up those groups to, say, for example, assignment submission areas. All right, so those are the 3 new tools: the completion progress, the tutorial booking, and the self-selection. Again, the last one, the self-selection, again, you would use the add a resource link as well to set that up. What I'm going to do now is just come out and show you what it looks like from a student perspective. So I'm going to log out of Moodle and I'm going to log in log in as a student. And go to the module where I've set these features up. Okay, so let's have a look at the 3 features. Again, the first one is the completion progress bar. So again, that shows the students quite nicely in a visual sort of way how they're progressing with the course. So again, instantly it shows them that they've completed one of the tasks, and they've got 4 more to do. Okay, moving on in terms of the second feature, the sign up for the tutorial. So if I go into this tool here, this is what it looks like. So they've got sign up for your tutorial here. Click on there, and then they're faced with those 3 options that I set up from the lecturer's perspective. Okay, so they could either sign up for the 10th, 11th or the 12th. So based on that, let's say the student decides to choose the 12th of September. So they go to the sign me up for this slot, they click on here, and they can see that actually they've joined that tutorial on the 12th of September at 10 AM. If they've made a mistake, they can also remove themselves from this slot as well. So they have a link there, if they click on there, they can actually come out of that tutorial and then maybe join up for another one at a later date or an earlier date or what have you. Okay, and also in the instructions that I put earlier on, I've clearly stated to the students that there's a minimum of 3 and a maximum of 6 in these groups. So when this group fills up to 6, it stops the student from actually joining that group. Right, so that's the second feature from the student's perspective. Again, the final one was the select your group, and if I click on there again, I'll show it for you from their perspective. So this is what the tool looks like. So these are the instructions that I posted. So it says join a presentation group here. You must join a presentation group by the 10th of October. And again, it's a really good idea to put a minimum group size and a maximum group size in there as well, so the instructions are clear. So the students click on the link, and in this case they're faced with 2 choices. So they could join an existing member of group. So there's one here that's called London, and this group is doing a presentation on London tourism. So they could click here and become a member of the group, or alternatively they can actually create a new group. So I'm going to click on that button there. I'm going to call this group Paris, and in here this group is doing a presentation on Paris tourism. And once they've clicked on there, you can see that now a second group is being created, and then likewise when another student comes along, they can join that group as well. Okay, so that's it from the student's perspective. And they're what's the advantage of these tools is that they're very simple to use. So it's no more than 2 or 3 clicks, and as long as the instructions are clear, then students wouldn't really have a problem in terms of how to progress through that. Okay, that's it really in terms of a kind of overview. My 20 minutes is up. I just want to return now in terms of going back to a few more slides in terms of pointing out a few more features. Okay, I don't seem to have any more questions coming in at the moment. If you want further help, the first port of call is to go to the Moodle help button at the top of the page inside of Moodle. So I've highlighted this here with the arrow to the top left hand corner. If you click on there, basically there are 3 places for help. So there's online help, so this takes you to a series of resources, so mainly sort of staff guides. So everything I've just talked through today in terms of setting up those tools, there will be a staff guide put up there in terms of which you can download or even print off in terms of setting up these features. Alternatively, you can contact the digital skills team and get face-to-face help. So there's a link on there on how to do that. And then if you need technical support, if there's a problem, then there's also the ICT help desk details on there as well. Okay. Okay, thank you very much for attending today's webinar. We've got some others planned, well, several others planned over the course of this semester. So if I just briefly go through these. So the actual next one that's taking place next Wednesday at 1 o'clock is the Moodle site health check. That's next Wednesday at 1 o'clock. And then at various times during the semester, we have approaches to providing electronic feedback, which will focus on the use of rubrics. Secondly, we have setting up and managing group assignments in Moodle. We have another webinar on anonymous marking in Moodle, and also we have one on getting Moodle ready for next semester. So it's just all different aspects of Moodle. Okay, finally this slide for my contact details. My name's Chris Rowell. I work as academic developer in Crit, and this is my email address and Twitter handle. Okay, thank you very much. I'll leave the chat room open for a couple more minutes, and I'll also make this video available.